Hey, this is Laquita Joseph with eXp Realty. Welcome back. I am going to have a quick video today to discuss the first two steps in the first-time home buyer process. So as I mentioned before, I was going to break down these different steps into small bite sizes and take a deeper dive so that you understand each of them. So tonight we are covering the first two. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so step one is finding a realtor. So why, right? Why do I need a realtor? Why do I need you, Laquita, is what you're saying to yourself. I don't know if I need you or not, right? And to be honest and fair, you could go through this process without actually having a realtor. But the benefit of me helping you through this is that I will actually help you get through the steps. So first of all, it will be easier for you to find a home because as a realtor or a real estate agent, I have access to what we call is the multiple listing system. And basically this is where all of the properties or most of the properties are listed so that other agents can find it. So you want people who can help you find properties. And so where people have listed their home for sale, now you have a central location to go look for those homes with the criteria that you're searching for. So it makes it easier. It would be harder for you to find those because you would have to go and basically ride around in various neighborhoods looking for sale signs, and then you'd have to call all of these agents and find out the details regarding the property. Whereas if I pull this information for you, I can pull it, I can give you all of the information that you need regarding the various properties, and I can actually put in search criteria that helps us to narrow down what it is that you're actually looking for. So that's one of the benefits. One also is it's to help you stay in your budget. So once as a real estate agent, I understand what your budget is, then we can look for properties that are within that budget. We can put a variance in there if we need to go maybe 10% higher or under. But for the most part, we will stay within that budget and we will look at properties that meet that criteria in terms of your budget. You as an agent, you have a real estate agent or realtor who you're working with can also help you to come up with an offer price once you find that forever home that you're wanting to buy. So they can help you come up with that. And in addition to helping you with that offer price, they can also help you to submit that offer. So there's paperwork, there are contracts that are required by the state to actually transact on real estate. And so as a realtor, we have access to those contracts that can help you facilitate that process. And again, I'll help you stay within your budget. So the next step in the process is you need to find out how much house can you afford. So how much house can you afford? And then you need to go find a lender. So first of all, just to find out how much house you can afford, first of all, you have to understand your debt to income ratio, DTI. And basically what this is, this number, this value actually determines, how much debt and how much you're paying out on a monthly basis in comparison to the income that you're bringing in on a monthly basis. So first of all, what you want to do is you need to add up all of your expenses. So what are those expenses that you're paying out on a recurring basis? So every single month, maybe it's rent, maybe you have some loans, maybe they're student loans, they could be personal loans, any type of loan, you need to include it. Also, if you have credit card debt, and what you need to do from a credit card perspective is to include the minimum payment that you're making on those credit cards. So that's going to be the minimum amount each month so that you can add up These are the payments that you are making each month. And so once you have that number, you need to compare that to your income. But I would also like to say, when you're adding up the expenses, there are certain expenses that you do not need to include. And those are the things that vary from month to month, like your utilities and things like that, or your groceries. So you don't need to include groceries or utilities because those are going to change each month. And it's just, it's a variance. And so it's not included in that number. Okay. So I want to make sure that you're clear on that. And so once you have all of your debts and you have your income, and when we talk about your income, this is your income before taxes. So your pre-tax income. So not what you bring home, what you get deposited into your bank account, but actually taking a look at your pay stubs to see how much are you actually grossing each month in income. And so what is that monthly income? Once you have those two numbers, now you're going to take that debt that you have, the total amount of debt, and you're going to divide the amount of income that you're making so that you can come up with your debt to income ratio. So for example, say for instance, you make $10,000 a month, right? So income, and this is your pre-tax income. So $10,000 a month pre-tax. And you go through and you add up all your expenses, your rent, your credit cards, your loans, all of those things, you add them all up and they come up to $4,000 per month. Now you're going to take that $4,000, you're going to divide it by the $10,000 total monthly income that you have to get your debt to income ratio, which is going to be 0.4 or 40%. So 40%. And so when it comes to a lender, the magic number here is less than 50%. So that's what they want to see. They want to see that less than 50% of your income is being spent on those recurring expenses, right? Okay, so I hope you're clear on that. And I've made it clear and I didn't confuse you, but 50% is that magic number. So if you're 50% or less, then you'll have a great opportunity of getting a loan. What if it's not under 50%? So what that tells you, so once you've done this calculation, what this tells you is, do I have some bills, some expenses that maybe I need to pay down so that I can get my debt to income ratio lower? And so you can take a look at those bills and you can just play around with the numbers and see, okay, what's gonna give me the biggest bang for my buck, what is doable, and what's realistic, and go through the process to say, I can do this. Maybe I can get rid of these two bills. I have 2 credit cards maybe that I'm paying, but if I paid those off, then it would wipe those 2 out, and then I would still be able to do all the things I need to do, and now my debt to income ratio is lower. So that is how you determine that. So at that point, how much house can you really afford? So now that you have your debt to income ratio, but now you still really need to understand, well, how much house can I afford? So basically what you're going to take is understanding, so what is the principal that I can pay, along with the interest that goes against that particular principal. Also, you will need to include your insurance for your home. Then also property taxes is what you're going to have. And then you'll have home maintenance. That is how you determine how much you can afford. And so, of course, the principal is basically the amount that you're going to borrow. So that's what that is. So your principal is the amount that you're actually borrowing from the lender, and the interest that goes along with that, along with insurance, property taxes, and home maintenance. Those are things that you should be considering when determining how much house you can afford. So once you've gotten beyond that step and you say, okay, I'm in good shape here, right? My debt to income ratio, it's less than 50%. I'm doing good here. And you kind of think, you've estimated about how much you think you can afford, or you may say, I know how much I want to pay, so I don't want to go over a certain amount. I see people do that all the time, is that, regardless of what their budget is, they may want to keep it less. So just because you can afford more doesn't necessarily mean that everyone wants to pay more. So they may choose to go less. And so you may have that ballpark figure in your head that I'm not going to pay more than this amount in my principal and interest per month on a home. So take a look at those things. But after you've done that, now you need to find a lender and get pre-approved. So it is important to get pre-approved because it gives you a great indicator of how much you can actually afford. Because when you go through that pre-approval process, that lender will come back and tell you exactly how much you can afford based on their criteria, based on the loan programs available, based on the interest rates that are currently in the market. So you getting a lender is going to be beneficial for you in so many ways. You can look at the interest rates and see what those interest rates are and lock in an interest rate once you've gotten pre-approved. So you go through that pre-approval process and you lock in your rate, so then that rate isn't changing over the period of time that you start to search for your property. And then you can learn at that point about different loan programs. So there are loan programs out there that you just may not be aware of. We don't always know all of the different pieces and arsenals that's in the tool case for a lender. So basically they can help you there, and they're going to look at your individual situation to see where these different programs can help you. So that having that lender is just what you need to do from the beginning. Okay, so one thing I do want to clear up, pre-qualification versus pre-approval. They are two different things, and sometimes it gets confusing and people think, well, they got pre-qualified, but pre-qualification is not the same thing as getting pre-approved. So in a pre-qualification, basically the lender takes your word for how much income, how much debt that you have. And sometimes it may not be 100% accurate, right? So I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that we're not being truthful, but I'm just saying that sometimes they don't have the full picture of the income or financial situation. And so if they don't have the full picture, that it's really just a pre-qualification. In a pre-approval, the lender actually does do a credit check, and in some cases they may even do some underwriting. So that just means that they have done verification of your income, they've verified your debts, they've pulled your credit report to see what's there. And so they have actually done a little bit more digging and due diligence in determining whether or not you can afford a property. And the benefit to you is because when you bring an offer to a seller or to the seller's agent, they want to know that you have been pre-approved, because one, they don't want to basically waste their time on offers that someone can't really pay for. You can't prove that it can get funded, right? And so it's not beneficial to them, because their primary goal is to sell their home and to sell it as quickly as possible. And so they don't want to spend a lot of time working with someone who has not gone through that process. So it's very important that you get pre-approved in the beginning, up front, so then that way when you look at properties, you can present to that seller that I have been pre-approved and I have this pre-approval amount backing up my offer. Okay, so lastly, what I want to say is when you're looking for a lender, look for a lender who is responsive to your calls. That your questions, whether it's a call or text or however you all choose to communicate, but that they are responsive to your questions, that you feel like you're getting the information that you need, the understanding that you need regarding the loan or loan program or your offer or any of those things. And then in addition to that, they should make it easy for you to apply. So hopefully they have an easy way. There's a portal quickly that you can just click on in their website and you can easily apply for the loan. It is not really that hard. So as I said last time, easy peasy. It's not that hard. And especially if you have a real estate agent like me, Laquita Joseph Realtor, behind you, I will help you get through the process. The work is on me. Everything for you is easy peasy. Until next time, have a good evening.